Ladies and gentlemen, if everyone will find their seats, we'll begin momentarily. If you want to find your seats, we will be beginning momentarily.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to UNM School of Law's commencement ceremony for the class of 2022. I would like to begin this ceremony with a land acknowledgement. Founded in 1889, the University of New Mexico sits on the traditional homelands of the Pueblo of Sandia. The original peoples of New Mexico, Pueblo, Navajo, and Apache, since time immemorial have deep connections to the land and have made significant contributions to the broader community statewide. We honor the land itself and those who remain stewards of this land throughout the generations, and also acknowledge our committed relationship to indigenous peoples. We gratefully recognize our history. Now, today marks our return to the law school's first completely regular, full attendance, in-person graduation since COVID hit. And I will say, it hit this class, the class of 2022, particularly hard because they had to shift to completely remote instruction during the spring of their 1L year. Now, I've come to know and appreciate the contributions that the students in this class have made to the University of New Mexico School of Law, and I'm very proud of their accomplishments. Let us first and foremost recognize the class of 2022 with a huge round of applause. Now, at this time, I would also like to recognize a group of individuals who play an important role in this convocation, the outstanding faculty who have taught and nurtured the members of this class for the past 3 years. Like many of you students, the vast majority of our faculty first learned how to use Zoom during your 1L year as they shifted to online teaching. Please rise, members of the law school faculty, so that we may recognize you. I would also like to specifically recognize one of the law school's emeritus faculty members, Rob Schwartz, who also serves as a member of UNM's Board of Regents. Regent Schwartz, thank you for being with us here today. And I also would like to take this opportunity to recognize a distinguished guest who is joining us from main campus as a representative of the Provost's office, Dr. Ellen Fisher. Dr. Fisher is UNM's Vice President for Research. She generally doesn't spend much time here at the law school, given that she's a professor of chemistry. Dr. Fisher, I'd like to thank you for joining us here today, and I'd ask everybody to give her a warm law school welcome. I also would like to thank the many members of our staff who played a very important part in helping our students succeed and for their role in making today a special occasion for our graduates. I especially would like to acknowledge Bonnie Steepleton, Rachel Foster, Jacqueline Ibarra, Patrick Lopez, Greg Garcia, and Tony Anderson. We really have an amazing staff, and we thank all of you. Now, it can be said that it takes a village to get a student through law school. Our students have achieved what they have in part because of the support of family and friends. Graduates, please join me in thanking your friends and families for their role in your accomplishments. Now, before I introduce our speaker, I would like to make one announcement for those of you who didn't notice. It's a warm day. If anybody's getting too hot, we are live streaming this inside in the forum if anybody feels too much heat and needs to step inside. Now, with that, I'm going to introduce our graduation. Yeah, not the graduates, though. I'm now going to introduce our graduation speaker, retired Judge Linda Vanzi from the New Mexico Court of Appeals. Now, Linda Vanzi originally hails from Karachi, Pakistan. Her path to New Mexico was not a straight shot. She lived all over Asia growing up and moved to New York at age 16 to attend Marymount College, where she graduated in 1977 with degrees in English and French. She worked as an environmental specialist and health and safety engineer before owning the Northtown restaurant in Taos. She then attended the University of New Mexico School of Law, graduating in 1995. After graduating, she did a federal clerkship with the late U.S. District Court Judge Edwin Meacham for 2 years, and then she went into private practice. In private practice, her cases dealt with civil rights, employment law, domestic relations, personal injury, commercial law, a lot of stuff. So basically your first year curriculum. Former Governor Bill Richardson then appointed her to a seat on the 2nd Judicial District Court in 2004. And he appointed her to the Court of Appeals 4 years later. She won election to her seat, and she won a retention election, and then she was served as Chief Judge of the New Mexico Court of Appeals from 2017 to 2019. She retired from the court in May of 2020 and has since gone back into private practice at the Rohde Law Firm. Now, as judge, she handled a full range of cases, including civil, criminal, and administrative matters. She participated in thousands of written decisions as author and panelist. In the course of her career as judge and attorney, she's spoken at countless seminars and served on many, many, many committees. I have a list, but I won't read them all to you. She served on a lot of very significant committees. She's also taught many classes here at UNM School of Law, including state constitutional law, civil rights litigation, advanced legal writing, constitutional law. She's taught in our evidence and trial practice class. She's also a team leader, faculty member for the National Institute of Trial Advocacy's National Trial Deposition and in-house national programs. As you can see, this year's graduation speaker has set the bar very high by showing all the amazing things that graduates of this law school can accomplish. I ask that you please join me in welcoming the class of 2022's commencement speaker, Linda Vanzi.
Dean Pareja, Regent Schwartz, professors, graduates, distinguished guests. When I received the letter informing me that the class of 2022 wanted me to speak at their graduation, I thought, wow, at least some of them must think I have something to say worth listening to, even after listening to all the things one hears in the course of a law school education. That's a real honor. Then I thought, actually, this kind of feels like a dare. And I thought, this is what the students are really saying. They're asking, what could you, Linda Vanzi, possibly say to us after all we've been through these last 3 years? Yeah, what on earth does one say to a class whose law school experience was one for the ages? The question brought to mind a passage I once heard from Haruki Murakumi's Kafka on the Shore. And once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain, when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. That's what this storm is all about. So I will start with what I want to say above all else. I see you. I don't claim to know the details of your actual experience these last 3 years. Of course not. But having had a law school experience of my own in this very place, I can at least imagine how exponentially more complex and difficult the experience had to have been for all of you than it was for me, in so many ways. And so it is, I want to say, I see you. Far more importantly, though, I want you, graduates, to see yourselves. You are tough. You are resilient. You are capable. I know this must be true for all of you. If it were not, you would not have gotten to this moment. See that and take it in. Call it a celebration, call it a rest, call it an integration. Whatever you do, you can call it a sandwich. I don't care. But please give yourselves the gift of your own attention. All of you deserve that. All of you need that. And while you're paying attention, can we take a moment once again to give it up for all the beings who supported and cared for the class of 2022 in ways large and small? Families, friends, teachers, mentors, pets, for some of you, maybe even plants. Can we please give it up to them? To the families and friends, professors and mentors, pets and plants, I personally want to thank you. You have made this day possible through your support, encouragement, sacrifice, and love. And today, you too get to celebrate. So now what, graduates? Well, unless you've already decided to use your law degree in a way that does not involve being a licensed practicing lawyer, there is the bar exam ahead of you. I know that terrifies many of you, as it did me. And on this, I have an observation and a suggestion. The observation is something I've wondered about for years. I get that a professional license requires passing a test of some kind. That makes absolute sense to me. But an exam that requires answering legal questions from memory, questions about secured transactions and easements and the rule against perpetuities, and by multiple choice, seems less a measure of a good lawyer and more a definition of malpractice. But that's my observation. The suggestion, though, is this. It may help to think of the whole process as a test of your willingness to be open to the possibilities you may not have considered, such as the possibility that the test maker's idea of what constitutes the best answers may be different from your own, and the possibility that if you take the time to look, you might find new and better ways of taking care of yourselves as you go through this process. It may also help to remember throughout this process and whatever unfolds thereafter that you are bonded for life with those who went through this with you, and that you are a part of a larger community of those who graduated from this law school before you. I can tell you that decades later, I am still in touch with the lawyer assigned as my mentor when I was a 1L, and that my relationships with members of this community, with current students and graduates alike, continue to enrich my own life, personally and professionally. Bar exam aside, all of you are embarking on the path to whatever comes next in a world transformed by events that have exposed fault lines, fragilities, inequities, utter abominations, and relentless unpredictability. A world in which the extraordinary has become commonplace and the previously unimaginable old news. So much turmoil, so much noise. So what's a new lawyer and young graduate to do? During a series of interviews that aired on PBS in the late 1980s, I know almost none of you were born before then, Joseph Campbell said this. He said, "Follow your bliss. You put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. When you can see that, you begin to meet people who are in your field of bliss, and they open doors for you. I say follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be." Such inspirational words, and so encouraging, if you know what your bliss is. But what happens if you don't? Well, as Campbell saw it, following your bliss isn't merely a matter of doing whatever you like, right? It's not giving up your day job and eating bonbons all afternoon. And it certainly is not doing simply as you are told. It is a matter of identifying that pursuit which you are truly passionate about and attempting to give yourself absolutely to it. Let me suggest something that might help you develop an understanding of what bliss might be for you. Consider your task one of cultivation, a concept that encompasses not only paying attention, but also preparation, commitment, work, development, growth, and maturation, among other things. As for what to cultivate, I suggest discernment, self-reflection, and equanimity. Because unless you are incredibly prescient, you will need to cultivate all these qualities if you are to find your way to doing what you love, to finding what you are truly passionate about, and being who you want to be. Truth be told, you will need to cultivate these qualities just to navigate your day-to-day encounters with questions that have no clear answers and problems that have no good solutions, with people in positions of authority who know less than you do, but are not aware of that, people with less than sound judgment, people of questionable integrity, people who will ask or even demand that you do something to compromise your principles and jeopardize your reputation. But you will also encounter, as I have, questions you can answer, problems you can solve, and people of integrity with sound judgment, valuable knowledge and experience, and the generosity of spirit to share those things with you. I assure you, they're out there, and they far outweigh the bad ones. You may even have to look beyond the perimeters of where you are at any given moment. But you must always look beyond boundaries in any event. As Barry Lopez wrote in Desert Notes, Reflections in the Eye of a Raven, we must not be held back by a boundary. We must not be held back by fear. The effort of the imagination is to turn the boundary into a boundless horizon. There's much to learn from the pairs of opposites we encounter in this world, but we need to be able to tell the difference between what we should heed and what we should disregard or avoid. That is why I encourage you to cultivate discernment. What I think is at least part of what the writer David Foster Wallace had in mind when he described to a different graduating class the meaning of learning how to think, which is different than what they told you in law school about learning how to think. David Foster Wallace characterized this as learning how to exercise some control over how and what to think, and further as being conscious and aware enough to choose what you pay attention to and to choose how you construct meaning from experience. That is why I also encourage you to cultivate self-reflection, for without awareness, there can be no discernment, along with a lot of other things. Equanimity, a concept that encompasses equilibrium, composure, and self-possession, is worth cultivating for a host of reasons, including that it is truly foundational as a necessary predicate for awareness in general, for constructing meaning from your experience, for recognizing your abilities, for bringing all you are to whatever you do, and for exercising your own agency and bringing about positive change in the life you live and the work you do. As you strive to bring all that you are to whatever you do and exercise your own agency, there is one quality I hope you will not indulge, much less cultivate: arrogance. I've never met a human being who wears arrogance well, nor have I ever seen any evidence that arrogance facilitates anything beneficial, certainly not in the workplace. The attitude that a job is whatever you decide it is, and that the knowledge and experience of those who came to the job before you have no value, serves no one, least of all those with the attitude. So I suggest to you the importance of cultivating something else, a little humility. As Thich Nhat Hanh said in various ways at various times, your mind is like a piece of land planted with many different kinds of seeds. The quality of your life depends on the seeds you water. In urging you to avoid indulging arrogance, I want to be clear that I do think it's important that you not view the law or the practice of law as things you must accept as they are, passively and uncritically. The practice of law must and will change. The courts and other institutions of law must and will change. Our very conception of the law and its purpose must and will change. You are going to be the class that does that. I also wish to be clear that in encouraging you to bring all that you are to whatever you do with the degree for which you have worked so hard under singular circumstances, I mean to stress the importance, the necessity really, of being present for the truth of what is without turning away, and remaining open to the possibility of what could be, also without turning away. In a brave and startling truth, Maya Angelou wrote, "We, this people, on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we discover a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible, we are the miraculous, the true wonder of this world. That is when, and only when, we come to it." The process of coming to it, remaining present and open while cultivating discernment, self-reflection, equanimity, and a little humility, will guide you to the best of yourself and the best of whatever you do with your law degree. I have no doubt that you have what it takes to find the work you love, to be who you want to be, and to help bring about the changes this world so desperately needs. And I know this to be true from what I have seen in you, in your personhood and in your work, which reflects an astonishing abundance of ideas I never would have imagined when I sat where you are now. You, the tough, the resilient, the capable, the class of 2022. Happy graduation. May you find your bliss and every good thing you hope for in your careers and your lives. Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Van Zee, for your inspirational message. And now, the reason for this convocation, the hooding of our graduates. Now, the academic hood is symbolic. You will notice the hoods have a purple lining. The color purple symbolizes the degree being granted, law. The satin lining of cherry and silver represents the colors of the University of New Mexico. The size and shape of the hood indicates the degree that is being received. For most of you here, that is the doctorate degree, which in this case is the Juris Doctor degree. And we also have 3 MSL students graduating this year, and they have a master's degree hood. Now, each candidate will come forward to receive their hood. Their name will be announced by one of 3 professors, Professor Jennifer Moore, Professor Lisette Romero Cordova, and Professor Gabe Pasiniak. The graduate will walk across to the area to be greeted by SBA First Vice President Taylor Bingham. They will then be hooded by one of our faculty hooders, and the hooders are Professors Joshua Kastenberg, Cliff Villa, Elizabeth Elia, Sam Winder, Mark Tiso Gonzalez, and Sonia Gibson Rankin. Now, would the first professors participating please take your places? Now, you might expect at this time I would say something like hold your applause till the end or something like that. However, that is not the tradition at this law school. Feel free to applaud, cheer, hoot, and holler as graduating students are hooded. After all that this class has been through since the pandemic hit, they deserve it. Is everybody in place? All right, with that, let's get started with the first reader.
Robert Waldroop. Okay. Robert Waldroop. Alyssa Nicole Herrera. Yaritza Peña. Lauren Hund. Claire Cooley. Elisa Sibils. Catherine Dorothea Sears. Paige Ann Terpstra. Damian Shapes Padilla. Jordan Farrell. Amanda Victoria Garcia.
Cody Jeff. Natalie Sang. Clay Willwall. Billy Trabato. Leslie Fernanda Villagomez Turner. Marissa Amelia Freeman. Douglas Alsup. Placido Gonzalez. Juan Ray Abeta. Mark Bridwell. Washte Wee Young. Latasha Ball. Raquel Koch Vaz. Congratulations. Deanna Creighton. Katie Basto. Samantha Hope Catalano. Lisa Bourgeois. Annika Mike. Jacob Paul Martinez. Congratulations. Mackenzie White.
Andrea Romero.
Mayor Amitai Landau. Get it?
Okay. Mayor Amitai Landau.
Excellent. You did great.
All right, my pleasure.
Please don't what?
Hong Wen. Denise Enriquez. Duran. Natalie Duran. Cameron Bernard Bell.
Yeah!
All right, how do you want me to say this? Luis Castillo? Castillo? Luis Lema Castillo. Kiefer Johnson. Daniel Goldberg. Sarah Elizabeth Haugard. All right, I'm trying to shout, man. Athena Victoria Shapiro. Ethan Sumrall.
Jacqueline Hoswell. Abigail Bannon Schneebeck. Chelsea Evangeline Pelsman. Luke Job. Nick Padilla. Nicholas Corbett. Alyssa Segura. Daniel Janes. Callie Tompkins. Stuart Wilkins. Jorge Rodriguez. Emma Stahl.
Samuel Leon Taub. Ari Burks. Emily Romero.
Ekaterina Magadova.
Todd Filler. Jeffrey Hoagland. Hallie Rossback. Rachel Grabenstein. Jordan Quinlan. Alexander Dawson. Callan Collins. David Andrew Lynn. Megan Brittany McCormick. We're not done yet. Taylor Bingham.
It is my pleasure to present to you the class of 2022. Now I would like to thank you all for being here today. This concludes our ceremony. Faculty and graduates will exit as they entered the ceremony, with faculty walking out first. And this officially concludes the commencement for the class of 2022. Thank you, everybody.